Okay, so I have Zena Molola here. So I'm going to be using her as an instance, to show you how to take these measurements. Now, in our subtraction method, we have two key measurements. This measurement is what makes subtraction method. Now, in case of a situation where I know most of you have foreign clients, like clients, abroad. In case of situations like that, where you are not with your client and you have to do virtual consultation. So I'll be showing you, or I'll be sharing with you rather, PAFA, Precious Apparel Fashion Academy's standard table where you can, our standard table where you can, take measurements in case, like I said, in case your clients might not be able to get it virtually, these two important measurements. So we have a table where you can always go to and, walk around the measurement that they've given you. All you need in the subtraction method is your bust measurements, and that's all. And then the other important measurement I said, your across bust and your across hip. Remember, I said take notes. At this point, I expect that you are writing. So I'm going to be starting with the important measurements. So for subtraction method, the important measurements you need are your bust circumference. The first three important measurements in fashion: your bust circumference, your waist circumference, and your hip circumference. Now, bringing it back to subtraction method, what you need is your across chest and your across bum. These are the two measurements that would help us when it comes to waist cinching. Now, what you'll be learning in this class is a whole lot, because I'll be teaching you how to work with a client to make custom, when we say custom made outfits, okay? Custom made outfits that are made to measure, made to fit you, but made to fit you perfectly, because you'll be working with accurate figures, not guesswork, okay? Not guesswork. As an advocate of freehand that later, transition to pattern drafting, I know what I mean when I say not guesswork, okay? Pattern drafting is the best thing that can happen to your sewing career. So soulmates, welcome to class. Just chill, relax, and I'll be explaining this to you briefly. Okay, soulmates, welcome back to class. So I'm going to be taking it really slow so that you can actually hear me. I'm not rushing, okay? So the first thing you want to do is tie around your client's waist. See, if you've attended my class, you will know something. I always tell my students, don't stand in front of clients. Don't stand in front of anybody. We are, as women, some people already have issues with their body. You standing in front of them is just making them feel somehow, it's like, it just feels like you can see through them. You can take someone's measurement standing by their side, and I'm going to be showing you how. That's the first rule, is don't stand in front of your client. It is a taboo. The second is don't put all your fingers while taking those measurements. You just need 2 tips, just like this. Okay, so you don't add to the measurements. Then the third important one is tying around your client's true waistline, okay? True waistline, not the umpire waistline. On the bust is the umpire waistline, if you're wondering. So the first thing that we'll do is, you see the way she just spread her hands. You can do this with an elastic, you can do this with a rope, but I prefer to do it with my tape measure. And I'm going to show you why I prefer to do it with my tape measure. Try to tie it firmly, okay? So after tying it firmly, you just want to secure the knots, like so. You can see, I don't have to come in front of her to do this, right? Now, I have secured the knot and she's here. Most times, you just want to leave your clients, let them just move their body around a bit. This way the tape measure would move around and locate itself or find its way to the true waistline. Another thing you want to do, if you're finding it difficult to get this part, is just ask them to tilt to one side. When they tilt to one side like this, you can actually touch the part of the body that needs to be tied. So soulmates, now that we've successfully tied and I've allowed my client move around a bit, the next thing we want to do is take her front length, okay? Very important. We have the subtraction method has the bust dart, okay? So you want to take the front length. Before we proceed, I want to say something very important, because I know that some people say, oh, which pattern was this adopted from and all that. Remember, I said it is Precious Apparel standard pattern block for the academy. I just thought to share with you. So it means it's a combination of techniques from different pattern authors that we have tested and tried, and the fit is perfect. So that's why I thought to share with you. Alright, so let's continue with class. The first thing you want to take is a front length, and as always, if you follow through, I'm going to be putting a picture showing you where to take that measurement from here. So you'll be seeing that picture on your screen right now. her front length, you want to take it down. So the first measurement you need is your front length. Can you see what I'm doing? Now, this front length, so many people have confusions with it. This video is very important for you if you're a beginner. So many people have confusions, with this thing, the front length. Now, what determines the front length? First thing that determines your front length is your design, your style. Which waist cut, how high do you want it, how low do you want it? If you take your front length to the starting point of your tape measure, of course you can see it on yourself where your front length is at. But me personally, I prefer to take it under the tape measure. This way, the front length sits directly on your true waistline. You understand? It sits directly on your true waistline. So mates, your measurement actually depends on the design you're working with. So have that at the back of your mind. The first things you want to look at: what's the design I'm working with? What's the waist cut? Well, this is the basic ground. So of course, what we are targeting is our true waistline. So that's where your front length should start from. So I'm going to measure like so. And I want to say something. There are some people that measure like this. There's no difference. I think most times the difference between measuring like this and measuring straight is usually like 0.25 or half inch. So let me practicalize it for you to see. Can you see? So measuring like this is 16, and measuring it just straight down is 15.5. Remember I said it's just, I'd say like half inch or 0.5. So it just depends on what you want. But I also advise you to just go this way so that you can get a really good fit. Your clothes or your block will sit perfectly on you. Okay? So the next thing you want to do is the back length as well. So if you've taken the front length, you want the back length. Why is the back length important? It helps us eliminate, all this back bulge and all that. You want to locate her neck bone here, the nape, and then measure back, to the same way. Now, like I said, your either under your tape measure or on top of the tape measure is the same. The most important thing you want to do is to make sure that you are taking this measurement, most especially the back, firmly. Can you see? Firmly. Okay? So next we will take is the important subtraction method measurement. So the first thing I will do is to measure around the bust. If you notice, I'm not in any way inconveniencing her or pressing her. So another thing you want to do, remember I said use your 2 fingers, okay? So when you're taking the bust measurement, you want to tilt your tip a bit to the bust bridge. When you take around the bust bridge, it gives your fingers room because there's always space there, okay? So you want to take it firmly as well, the bust bridge measurement, like so. Can you see? You want to take it firmly this way. Now, after you've done that, you want to go ahead as well and take firmly the waist circumference measurement. Make sure it is firm, not tight. There's a difference between firmness and tightness, okay? So make sure it's firm, not tight. You want to go ahead and take the upper waistline, otherwise known as your underbust, because I'll be showing you how to do the underbust tightening, 50% and 100% underbust tightening, and what you can also use it for if need be, right? You want to take it firmly like so. The next you want to do is to take your hip circumference measurement. Now, at every point in time when you're measuring your client, you want to make sure that they are not looking down like this. Your client should stand straight. Nobody should look down when you're taking their measurement. Affects your measurement, okay? So you want to be sure that your hip circumference, your tape is going from your hip line to the fullest part of your bum behind. Now, this measurement class is not going to take too long because I'm just going to hit on 2 important places, okay? Now, I've taken her bust, her waist, and her hip measurements, right? We've also taken her front length and her back length. So I expect that you've written bust, waist, hip, front length, and back length measurement. So the next we want to do is to take the actual subtraction method. So the subtraction method believes that every woman has figure 8. Every woman has a shape. Note that other shapes are good. Figure 8 is not the standard shape, but everybody has a shape. So just in case you draft your pattern and you think it's straight and all that, subtraction method came and said no, everybody must have a curve. Every woman has a curve. So we are after that curve. We want to bring that curve in you. So it starts from your pattern. We don't need to try to curve your own body and squeeze you, but we have to curve it from your pattern. So this is how to take it. She has to stand at attention like this, you can see. So look at, just stand by the side. Look at this side of her arm here. So from this side of her arm to the other side of her arm, that is where we take her across bust measurement. So we'll go ahead, we'll place it this way and take it all through. No, put your hand down. To the other side. Her across bust, you see, is just the fullest part of her bust. It is us measuring just half her body like this. Okay? So that is where we take the across bust, like so. Now the next, you have to take it, has the 17.5. Please avoid the tape falling off. Make sure the measurement is taken firmly. And this is one of the reasons why I said, this is 18. Sorry. This is one of the reasons why I said I'll be dropping standard table for you for the across bust and the across bum. Just in case of virtual consultations where your clients are not around, or even if they are around and you've forgotten to take these measurements, you can always go back to the content table and then, you know, help yourself out. So next we'll be turning around for her cross bum. She's still going to stand at attention and just tilt towards the side. Now if you look at her hand, look at the her wrist bone. You can see the wrist bone here. I'll be taking from inside the wrist bone straight like this to the other side. So I'm showing you this because you might not be able to see me do it from one side to the other. So you might need to take it from here all the way to this part. Alright, so I'll be measuring from one part of her hand like that to the other. So her across bum is 21. Make sure it's on the fullest part of the bum and your tape is not wobbly like this. Make sure it is firm. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is your gown length. For the gown length, I want you to measure from your waistline to your preferred gown length, and you know, just to your preferred gown length, because we are going to be making a gown. And from this pattern you can get a blouse as well. So the standard blouse length is 23 inches for like average height, or 24 for really tall people, but you can walk around what works for you. The next important measurement we need is what I call the powerhouse measurement. Without these 3 measurements, or 4 measurements rather, your clothes is just as good as bad, and if you miss it, you already missed it for, you know, for good. So that would be our shoulder to nipple measurement, or bust points. Our shoulder to bust points is the apex. You can also call it apex. Okay, learn to use fashion terms. Fashion designers learn to use fashion terms. Okay, so it shows that you know what you're doing. Okay, so from our shoulder points here to the bust point to under bust, like so. Can you see? Remember I told you that the under bust is your empire waistline, so learn to use your fashion terms correctly. And then the next thing you want to do, we've taken our accurate under bust, our under bust circumference. So the next thing you want to do is to measure your bust span. These measurements can make or spoil your dress. I know some people say the standard is 8 inches, but it's always good to take it. In situations where you've not taken it, you can use 8 inches or 7.5 or thereabouts. But you want your client to point on their, you know, their bust point for you, and then you want to take it, you know, your bust span. So your shoulder to bust point, your shoulder to under bust, and then your bust span measurement. Very important measurement. You also need to take around your under bust measurement or your empire waist measurement. Okay, you need to take it firmly like so and note it down. The next we'll be looking at is our shoulder measurement. This shoulder measurement is also one very important measurement, because sometimes if you don't take it well and you make your sleeve, it just tends to like fall off or something. So what I do is I ask to stretch my clients to stretch their hands and feel the shoulder bone. So I take from one bone to the other. For subtraction method, you must get your shoulder measurement perfectly. Can you see? So you need to get it perfectly like so. Alright, so mates, I want to thank you all for joining this class. And for now, these are the important measurements that we've gotten. First things first, before our class starts, I'm going to be sharing with you formulas. So after I've shared with you the formulas, then we'll go into drafting. It's a whole lot of calculation, okay? So we're not going to drafting, but the next after this you'll be seeing is the formulas to get different things, okay? then we'll now go into our drafting proper. Feel free to ask questions, and feel free to upload your notes so that I can go through them and correct where necessary. And after now, I would like your review on this class. Post on social media, tag us, hashtag Precious Apparel class or Precious Apparel tutorial, YouTube tutorial, tag us, and invite a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you get notified when we upload new video. And yes, the session continues on Facebook. If you are not following us on Facebook, you want to do so, I'll be dropping the link below so that you can follow and join the discussion, because there will be dropping fashion business tips. If you want to run a fashion school, if you want to become a fashion tutor, this is the best person you should be talking to, because my niche is teaching, so I can hold your hands and guide you through so you don't make any further mistakes. Till we meet again, I'm Precious. Bye.